Hello, good evening. My name is Rodney. I'm from Super License, and this is another F1 stream. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix weekend, so it's the last race of the year. It's been a long year. There's been a lot of races. We've done a lot of streams. We've done a lot of podcasting. It's been a lot. It's been a heck of a year. There's been a lot going on. Even if you take as read that Max Verstappen's going to win every single race, I would contend it's still been a very busy year. There's been a lot to talk about, so we've done a lot of talking. I've got a few little topics, a few little things on my mind that we're going to finish off the year with, things we're going to talk through. But essentially, it's time to kick off the stream and get into some news. You know what that means?
Wow, I guess this is a big moment. I should care about it.
It is a big moment. You should care about it. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that you should care about. Been cutting little highlights and clips from the live stream into little tight little packaged YouTube videos, but the last stream I didn't get time to edit them all into nice little packages. And one of the things about that is that I probably won't get to do that for this week either, but that's the breaks. That's how it goes. Hopefully people like those little clips. Things keep growing, which has been growing. It's been a good year. But hopefully that just keeps growing and people get more interested in watching the live show, and then it'll all be sweet, mate. I will watch, as always, for comments if anything pops up. But anyway, first thing we're going to get into, let's have a look at this. Let's have a little bit of Las Vegas recap. A little bit of a look at where things landed as far as Grand Prix in Las Vegas, the first Las Vegas Grand Prix goes. Obviously, it wasn't the first F1 Grand Prix in Las Vegas. There has been races there before, but it was a new one, and it's a new event called the Las Vegas Grand Prix, not the US Grand Prix or whatever. But they have raced there before, famously in a car park, and it was, let's say, not great. But here's the post-mortem on things. By the way, I did do a video about Las Vegas Grand Prix, and it was critical about the bad things. You know what they were. Some people agreed. Some people saw the video and went, yeah, wow, that was bad. Some people saw that and went, I don't know how you could watch that race and come away with this scathing attack on the Las Vegas Grand Prix event. It was fantastic. And I have to point out to them, yeah, I know. I didn't say the race was bad. I said, the practice day was bad. The track ruining a car, that driver's race being ruined by no fault of his own, not to mention tens of millions of dollars of damage because of the race surface. And then absolutely no running that the punters who paid hundreds and thousands of dollars to go to the race, they didn't get to see anything. That's what I'm critical of. It's all in the video, bro. Just got to watch it. Anyway, Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix pulls surprising 1.3 million viewers on ESPN at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. This is from the fine people at Forbes. The race pulled one of the largest viewership audiences for an F1 race of the season with 1.3 million viewers. Now, we hear a lot about viewing numbers, especially from the US. And I mean, again, one of the themes throughout the stream this year, things that I've talked about, videos I've watched or articles that I've read, has been F1's doomed. F1's spiraling downwards. It's horrible. It's easy to get viewership figures from the US. It's hard for the rest of the world, but I make do with what I've got. The race pulled one of the largest viewership audiences for an F1 race of the season with 1.3 million viewers. The race that ran from 1 till 3 a.m. Eastern Time saw the third largest F1 viewership audience of the season on cable. The race ranked 6th largest overall on ESPN platforms for the 2023 F1 season, which has just one race left on the schedule. According to ESPN, the Las Vegas Grand Prix was the most viewed F1 race since June's Canadian Grand Prix on ABC, which had 1.76 million viewers, and the most watched telecast of any kind on cable after 11 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday night and in the overnight hours. Now look, I know there's probably not a lot of quality content and amazing, riveting, must-see television happening after 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, but the numbers are the numbers. It did really well. The highest rating race since June. There was a lot of interest in Formula One on TV for the first half of the year, And you could argue a lot of that interest was dulled when Max Verstappen literally started winning every single race. I'm not arguing that that's not a bad thing. I'm not arguing that we shouldn't be concerned about that. I'm just arguing that this narrative that Max Verstappen winning everything means people are switching off, people are tuning out and just not going. I mean, the Las Vegas race was a sellout despite all the problems. It rated incredibly well despite being on. The only people tuning in at that time are keen as mustard Formula One fans or people who fell asleep with the TV on. So I just think the verdict's out on all of that. But for what it's worth, I wanted to recognize that. So there's a few things that we should cover off, and this has sort of got that last day of school vibe to it. That sort of, basically have to say farewell to a couple of teams from the grid. So who be they? Let's find out. The first one. From, I pulled up a random article from the fine people at Autocar. I'll put all these links in the description and the comments. Alfa Romeo thanks Formula One team ahead of final race this weekend. The Alfa Romeo branding is currently applied to cars run by Sauber Motorsport, which is expected to run under its own branding in 2024 and 2025 before its new partnership with F1 newcomer Audi takes effect in 2026. Its current drivers, Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottass, misspelt there, it's 2 T's and 1 R, who currently confirmed they will continue to race for the team in 2024. In an official statement ahead of its last race, Alfa Romeo thanked everyone who shared these unforgettable years, including the late Fiat Chrysler Automobile CEO Sergio Marchionne, who was a key backer of the Alfa Sauber partnership in 2018. It also thanked drivers past and present, including Charles Leclerc, Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Räikkönen, and ex-team boss Fred Vasseur, who is now at Ferrari. Yeah, lots of Ferrari alums going there, hey. The Vasseur-Leclerc super partnership. Kimi Räikkönen, remember that? Walks out of Ferrari and just the next day, literally minutes later, I've signed with Alfa. What a way to go. So this is to say that Alfa Romeo are leaving. I remember when Alfa Romeo was announced. It was announced in 2017. I was in the paddock and there was all these whispers of, a major motoring brand is returning to Formula One. It turned out to be Alfa sponsoring the team, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, sure. Got a friend that was really into Alfas, so he was very thrilled. But I think, Alfa has a pedigree for motorsport, and this won't go down as an incredibly successful period for them, but that said, Audi are coming in. There's a few years gap. It's widely speculated and will soon be confirmed that Sauber will return to racing under the name Sauber with probably some other branding. Whatever Sauber, Whatever Sauber Racing, that'll probably be the brand I reckon. But back to Sauber for a few years, who also have a great racing pedigree. And then after that, over to Audi. Over to Audi. That'll be fun. So that's one team that we're leaving. That's one team that we're farewelling. Not the drivers or the team as such, but the brand. A second team that we're saying farewell to, though. The other Alpha Tauri. I have to say, one good thing is that we'll be consolidating the teams, and there'll be fewer Alphas on the grid. You lose that obvious joke though of like Alpha Tauri, more like Beta Tauri, am I right? But other than that, that's what we get. But instead we get this. So long Alpha Tauri, new Hello Racing Bulls. This is from the really radical people at Race Fans. Red Bull plan to rebrand second F1 team as Racing Bulls, documents indicate. Earlier this year, Red Bull Motorsport consultant. Earlier this year, evil racing overlord Helmut Marko revealed Alpha Tauri will have its third different name in 6 years next season. The team has since submitted paperwork to officially register the name Racing Bulls for a broad range of applications pictured above. This is a bit more of an argument that this article makes, but whatever. The choice of name echoes Racing Point, the name used in 2019 and 2020 by the team now known as Aston Martin following its purchase by Lawrence Stroll. The name was stylized as Racing followed by a bullet point, which allowed the team to draw more attention to its title sponsors. Okay, if that's what you say. They had a pretty horrible name and it was a torrid time. Although we all got to sing Sport Pacer Racing Point. What is your power move? Sport Pacer. The changes at Alpha Tauri ahead of the 2024 season go much deeper than a new name. This weekend is the last for team principal Franz Tost, who has run it since Red Bull purchased and rebranded the Minardi team. Ahead of the 2006 season, Peter Bayer has been appointed as CEO and Laurent Mekies will join Ferrari to become the new team principal from Ferrari. So he's leaving Ferrari to go there. Is there anyone left at Ferrari? Far out. So long, AlphaTauri. Hello, Racing Bulls. This is what was rumored was, people were a bit tight-lipped about what the name exactly was going to be. There's rumors of it being Hugo Boss. I guess Hugo Boss may still be in there somewhere. But they were like, it'll be a name that has a reference more to the Red Bull. And I feel like one of the problems that Red Bull and AlphaTauri had was that they were too divorced from each other. And I know that was the idea. The idea was Red Bull are Red Bull Racing. AlphaTauri are there to race, but they're also like, hey, we're kind of edgy, separate fashion brand that stands on its own 2 feet. But you don't need to be a genius to know that that loses all of the cachet that comes with being associated with Red Bull when you could easily put the two teams next to each other and not know that there's any affiliation there. So this really goes 180 degrees in the other direction. This makes a very strong connection between Red Bull Racing and Racing Bulls. Maybe too close of a connection. Red Bull Racing, 2 of those 3 words are in this name. But Racing Bulls, it sort of implies 2 teams, Bulls, like Bulls plural, right? Also the Red Bull logo here, a little bit of an AlphaTauri feel to this sort of curve here. But bringing the actual Red Bull logo here and then same font, Racing Bulls, Red Bull, quite close. Really, if you think about it. Maybe too close. Who am I to judge? What matters, though, is that the memes are starting to roll in. So here we go. Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls. Racing Bulls. You won't unsee it now that you've seen it. You are welcome. Sugar-free is a far superior name. Sugar-free Red Bull. That's it. That is a much better name. Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda are your sugar-free Red Bull drivers. It's just a lost opportunity that they're not doing that. So, man, we're flying through this. 2 stories down. I guess there's sort of 2 main stories and 2 half stories this week, but I'll do what I can to keep things a rocking and a rolling for you. So what's next? Going to do something that I don't usually like to do, which is talk about rumors. It's really gotten out of control, the rumor situation at the moment, because a few months ago we had this rumor kick off that Fernando Alonso has been in talks with Red Bull about a contract drive to move to Red Bull, I guess to replace Sergio Perez. Now, who knows what that was about? Maybe that was a flex from Red Bull to say, hey, Perez, we're going to pay you absolutely nothing because we could get someone of the caliber of Fernando Alonso. Maybe that was about getting some sponsorship deals started. Who knows? Maybe it was legit. I don't think so, but maybe it was. One thing I know for sure is that Fernando Alonso got heated. He was steaming. He was very unhappy. He was going to do this.
I think if I get a few more, I'll headbutt someone.
Man. And I guess people read that a few ways. One suggestion was, well, maybe that means it's true because he's so upset that it got leaked, that they were talking. Maybe that's it. I don't really know. The other way to read it was that he doesn't like being part of the circus he doesn't like being used to further anyone else's cause, which is fair enough. He doesn't need to do that. So anyway, that was the whole Fernando Alonso Red Bull sideshow. And you can add to that even, Daniel Ricciardo to Red Bull. Liam Lawson loses his drive when Daniel returns at Alfa Tauri. Does that mean that he's going there? They saved Perez, but Perez is on hot water. Then Perez is going to leave. Maybe they want to bring in Albon again. Maybe they've signed Valtteri Bottas. I mean, I post stuff on YouTube, but if you look at YouTube thumbnails and descriptions, they say things like, there's like a picture of a contract and it says signed, and it says it's happening, and there's a picture of Bottas in a Red Bull racing suit. And then the description says, this week on this video, we explore the intriguing possibility that Bottas might go to Red Bull. And it's like, well, that's not the same thing. You can't do that. It's so disingenuous. It makes me mad. But here is yet another example of the craziness that we get to. And I don't like talking about this, but there's been so much press about it, and I think there's a few interesting angles on it that I was like, well, maybe we could talk about it. I wanted to choose something, but I don't know it's going to work. Anyway, let's give it the old college try. My apologies to your eyeballs for having to show you the Daily Mail here. I hate it. The only thing that Daily Mail's good for is...
Mate, where's the toilet paper?
But look, the layout on this website is horrible. I'll try and do better in future. But because this was the thing that kicked everything off, I thought we'd better actually look at it and look at what was said. The headline, Lewis Hamilton held talks with Red Bull and Ferrari about joining before he inked a $50 million a year deal with Mercedes. Was even open to joining forces with rival Max Verstappen. Sure he was. Sure. Blah, blah, blah. Christian Horner made the claim, insisting that Hamilton wanted to stay at Mercedes and that he was very happy with the Red Bull drivers, yada, yada, yada. I literally just thought it was important to make it very clear what Horner said, or what he's quoted as saying. Horner said, we've had several conversations over the years about Lewis joining. It's impossible to navigate this website. They've reached out a few times. Most recently, earlier in the year, there was an inquiry about whether there would be any interest. Whoever made this website should be sacked. And then Horner talks about Hamilton. He met John Elkann, Ferrari chairman too. I think there was serious talks. It was around Monaco in May. There were definite conversations, perhaps with Vasseur too, but certainly with Elkann. But I can't see Max and Lewis working out together. The dynamic wouldn't be right. We are 100% happy with what we have. I made a whole video about Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. This was around the time Hamilton was negotiating and signing a contract with Mercedes, but all the headlines were about Hamilton considering a deal with Ferrari, reported numbers being thrown around. Ferrari offers Hamilton $30 million a year to dress in red. $30 million. That's not much. That's nothing to... That buys a lot of bananas.
Because a monkey every day bananas.
But then the follow-up headlines were like, it's probably a bit low. I feel like Ferrari are lowballing Hamilton there. That's a bit of an insult. And then the next follow-up was Ferrari saying, we don't know what anyone's talking about. We're not talking to Hamilton. We have not made an offer. This is all bullshit. And that's the stuff that just kills me, because why we even bother? Why do we waste our time on this stuff? So that was the claim. Horner reported. We have, Hamilton's people have reached out to us about interest for a drive. That was Hamilton's claim. And he said earlier this year that happened. So here's what happens. The headlines start to roll off. Just not based on that rumor, the headlines roll off. What Horner's revelation about Hamilton Red Bull talks really means. The long story short about this one is the article just says, it's normal for great drivers and great teams to talk. But anyway, they wrote about it. And there was this one. Okay. Let's just assume that those talks had gone somewhere. What then? The think piece. Who would have replaced Hamilton at Mercedes had he joined Red Bull? Yada, 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 the contenders. A hypothetical about a hypothetical. Then it got interesting. Horner says, Hamilton's people reached out to us, wanting to talk to us about a possible drive. Follow that up with this. Shot, chaser.
Yeah, I don't really know where that story's come from. Or I mean, I know it's come from Christians. I don't really understand what he's been talking about because no one, as far as I'm aware from my team, has spoken to him. I haven't spoken to Christian in years. However, he did reach out to me earlier in the year about meeting up. But that's it.
Sorry. Asked about the rumors that Hamilton would go to Red Bull. Hamilton says, I don't know what Christian Horner's talking about. I haven't talked to him in years. We're not in discussions for me to go there. We haven't been. This is all garbage. So all eyes turn back to Christian Horner. I don't know if you've ever had that. When it's like it's like that classic thing of when you're at a party and you say the wrong thing, and just as you say the words, the whole room falls silent and everyone looks at you like weird. Horner says Hamilton is going, or talked about going to Red Bull. Hamilton denies it. What's Horner got to say? Horner details contact with Hamilton's dad, but denies serious discussion over Red Bull. So in that original article that I read, I just sort of skimmed over it, but it said, if Hamilton didn't talk directly to Red Bull, there's only two other people that it could have been. His manager, his new manager who was managing his contract negotiations, or his dad. And here it is. Horner reveals contact with Hamilton's dad, but denies serious discussion over Red Bull move. Yeah, I mean, Horner never said there was a serious discussion. He just said someone was reaching out. Here's what he says. It's remarkable how much traction this has got. It's a question of he said, she said, who said, what said. Someone check on Christian Horner. He's lost the plot. It's entirely normal for drivers' representatives, drivers' parents, wink, to have different discussions during the course of a year. We haven't had any serious discussions with Lewis. There was never a seat available. I've known Anthony Hamilton for many years. He's a good guy, a proud racing father. Here we go. I don't know who represents who or what, but with the same surname, you would think they were reasonably close. It's difficult to say, but other than pleasantries, there was no specific, can I drive for Red Bull next year? Unless Anthony wanted to drive. Yeah, maybe Anthony wanted to drive. Maybe that's it. I think you're onto something there, Christian. So, reportedly, Hamilton said he was at home one day and he found his old phone in a drawer because he'd switched to a new phone and got a new phone number. So he turned on his old phone and it just went crazy with messages and missed calls and stuff. And one of them was from Christian Horner. And he said, Christian Horner texted me and said, do you want to catch up at the end of the year to talk about things? And that was it. Which, I mean, that absolutely gels with Christian Horner's version of the story, which is Lewis Hamilton's dad reached out to me and asked me to set up, something with Lewis to talk. And he was trying to do that at the end of this year. Like that all seems true. No harm, no foul here so far as I can tell. What do you think Christian was trying to, this was earlier in the year, what do you think he was trying to talk to him about? Was he like, yo bro, we're going to go see Barbenheimer, IMAX, Monaco. And if you can't come, can I borrow your pink suit? You know what I mean? What do you think it would have been? Just don't know. So it sort of turned out to be the media's been losing its effing mind about this story. They've written article after article after article, posting hypotheticals about hypotheticals, reporting rumors about rumors. And they couldn't help themselves. Just to pick on the race one more time. From the race, unpicking Hamilton and Horner's conflicting claims on Red Bull talks. I know I'm talking about this story, but the self-awareness here. This is really, look how long this is. So much written about it. Here's some of the comments. Storm in a teacup. Hamilton had an old phone which he just switched on. Sure thing, bro. I have a bridge in Brooklyn you might want to buy. Oh, come on. That's crap. I saw a comment somewhere that said something like, so this is the third article that the race has written about this thing that didn't happen. They're just not having a good day. Maybe Christian Horner was messaging Lewis just to say,
Lewis, I love you and respect you.
could have been. You don't know. Maybe he was. When Ricardo heard that Hamilton might be taking his rightful spot at Red Bull, he was doing this.
I'm tripping major nutsack right now.
Because Toto was telling him about the Mercedes car and he was saying,
The car is bad, we know. Please drive it.
goodness me, it's been a long year. This is why I don't report on rumors. This is why I just can't be bothered with any of this. There's so many important things to talk about and write about and focus on. To focus on who messaged when and who and from what. Like, I mean, did you talk to him or did he talk to you? Like, talk to me when Hamilton signs. Otherwise, just shut up. Last thing for this stream before we wrap it up. Is it going to be a short one? I am thinking about what I want to do for the streams next year. The sort of limitations on what I can do. There's a lot that I'd like to do, but I just don't know that I can do everything. Maybe even, I'm going to try and get like a little stream thing where I can like plug the Switch into the computer and play some games on there, play Mario Kart or something. Don't think I can stream myself playing Mario Kart, but I can maybe do that in the Discord or something. We'll work that out, but it'd be fun to sort of spice things up in here a little bit more. I did say last week that there'd been a lot of stories, and I didn't cover them all, but, you know, I didn't cover every single story, but there were a few things kicking around, and I sort of rattled off a few of them. But the people spoke. The people demanded it. Demanded that we cover this. So, I guess we better do it. I guess more details came to light as well, so I wanted to cover it. From the wacky folks at WTF1, which is exactly where you'd expect to see coverage of a story like this. The truth is I found coverage elsewhere, but I wanted to, you know. I think when people go to WTF1, they know what they're getting, so that's where I went. Headline, you can now buy a Valtteri Bottass calendar for 2024. Oh, we bet your day just got a whole lot peachier, peach emoji. Valtteri Bottass might honestly be a marketing genius. He's never afraid to bear all, and F1 fans absolutely love him. So what better way to celebrate that than to release a month-by-month calendar for 2024 with 13 photos of his bare bottom. Most of the photos online have been from afar, but spoiler alert, some of these ones are quite close up. Well, you were warned. I'm not going to play this video from the bad website, but this is him announcing his calendar, and he's saying, I'm raising money for Movember, and he's registered Bottass.com. I mean, missed opportunity to go with Bottass there, but whatever. Bottass.com to raise money for Movember to buy his bum calendar. I don't know. Do you think when you open it, the pages flap out and there's extra, like a centerfold? Don't know. I feel like Lando Norris was a fan.
I'm getting a hard on in the middle of the race.
How did we get here? How did we get here? The wacky folks at WTF1 explain. One of the first pictures Valtteri shared last year of him lying in a river in Aspen went viral. It actually became so iconic that he gifted his former Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton a signed copy to hang in his house. Nothing says friendship like that, am I right? Ooh, what a mate. Do you reckon Lewis put that in the same drawer as his spare phone? Like that can just go in there. Don't need to hang that up. I'll get around to it one day maybe. The sharing of a second photo in June 2023, a cracking shot of him from behind, strolling through a stream in the nude, was really what solidified the Bottass joke, and now it's not uncommon to see photos of Valtteri nude. Is it? Someone's been sliding into someone's DMs, I reckon. Anyway, back to the calendar. Exactly. Valtteri has now released a 2024 calendar with 13 photos of his naked self. But TT, it's all for a good cause. $5 of every calendar he sells goes to Movember, a charity seeking to make a difference to men's physical and mental health and prevent men from dying young. Many of those who raise money choose to grow a mustache for the entirety of November, which I believe Valtteri was doing as well. But you can take part in so many ways. are you going to invest in a Bottass calendar for 2024? I just felt like, I mean, look, obviously it's just a bit of fun. It's for a good cause. I do believe in that. I've done Movember a bunch of times, and cancer is a big cause that's very close to me. So it is a good cause. I wanted to end on that. We're gonna actually like wrap up the whole year of streams on that note. But if you wanted to go and buy a Bottass calendar, what a perfect Christmas gift for your brother, or your dad, or your grandma, or whoever. And if they say anything, tell them it's for a good cause. Really, if you know someone who watched Drive to Survive, and they like, you know, if you ask them to put it on and it says resume from where you were, and it resumes, and it's at that scene where Bottass is in the sauna, enough, like you know everything you need to know. Buy that person a calendar. Thanks very much for watching the stream. It's been really fun doing it this year. I'm gonna try again next year to, I don't know, come up with some new ideas, see what else we can do to spice things up a bit. It's been really cool to, really good to try something different, and it'd be awesome to know what people want to do more of, do less of. Like I said the other day, last week, I'm thinking of trying to do more little just videos that aren't part of a live stream, perhaps, to make them a bit more timely or just polished or whatever, but we'll see. I think a live stream would be fun, but it's, you know, it's a growing thing. So we'll just see how it goes. All right, I'm going to sign off. Enjoy the last race of the year. We'll be back with a podcast in a few days. So if you are missing the podcast in your life, we're going to be doing that. That may or may not be the last podcast that we do for the year. It's no secret that we often do one with some friends of ours as well, as a bit of a season wrap up. But we shall see how that goes, because after this week, I'll be offline for a couple of weeks. And then it's getting pretty close to Christmas. So we may or may not touch base with others and put out some more content. But if I don't see you till next year or on the next podcast, then have a great end of the year. And we'll probably see you again next year. I might start doing some live streams around the time of like testing or something. We'll see. See you on the podcast, and I'll see you later. Thanks.